Today, I would like to share with you one of my favorite historical dances for a couple to do, Il Torneo Amoroso. I will be sharing with you step-by-step dance steps, as well as some historical information related to this fun combat dance. However, before we get started, make sure to click the subscribe button to be updated when new videos come out. So welcome to History of Il Torneo Amoroso. Here are two pictures of myself with my husband dancing this dance at an SCA event last year. For anyone who is interested, the SCA stands for Society for Creative Anachronism, and it is a nonprofit educational organization that studies and recreates the years 600 to 1600. Here are the original dance instructions. If you can't notice, they're in Italian. On the left-hand side, you will see the first, second, third, and fourth parts, and then on the right-hand side are the fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth parts to this dance. This dance has maybe one or two parts that are repeated in the dance. Otherwise, this whole dance is a non-repetitive dance. What I mean by that, if you do historical reenactment dancing, for example, if you do English country dances, you will find that most English country dances have siding, arming, and stuff. And with that, there is a certain format. So when you dance the dance, you can learn it very quickly. Then there are other dances such as the Italian dance Rostibili Gioso. And with Rostibili, it is a repetitive dance in the fact that in the first part of the dance, the Lord leads and then the lady follows. In the second part of the dance, the lady leads and then the Lord follows. But the thing is, the lady is doing the exact same thing that the Lord did in the first part. So the roles are just reversed. And then in the third part of the dance, the Lord leads again with the lady following, doing the exact same dance steps that were done in parts 1 and part 2 of the dance. With this particular dance, Torneo Amoroso, maybe one or two things are repeated. Other than that, there are 9 parts of this dance that are not really repetitive. And so it's one of those that it's a little difficult to learn or to teach it to begin with. But once you learn the dance, personally, I think this dance is so much fun to do. But also with that, that's because you can play it in so many ways. You can act out during certain parts of the dance if you want to be happy, if you want to be angry with your partner, if you want to give them a cold shoulder, if you want to make up, if you want to look lovingly in their eyes. There are so many parts to this dance. It makes it so fun, at least in my opinion. So before I showed you the original Italian instructions, these are the English translation instructions. And if you notice, I put a last name at the bottom on the right, the last name Kendall. I have a works cited page at the very end if you would like more information on anything you see in today's video. So with this English translation, you can still see the first part, the second part, the third, the fourth part, fifth, the sixth, the seventh, eighth, and the ninth. One thing you will notice in both the Italian instructions and then in the English translation, there are certain dance steps that are written. And these dance steps could include the names Continenza, Ripresa, Seguito. And so on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side are two tables here that I have that have the step instructions where you will see Ripresa or Continenza and then what that actual dance step means. For example, a Ripresa is where you step side to side. And here is another table with step instructions on the left-hand side. And this one, it makes sense once you figure out what the author was trying to create when writing this. But at first, when I first saw this, I found it to be a little confusing. But like I said, once I figured it out, it made sense. Which is why I created this. To me, this makes more sense for the step-by-step dance instructions. For example, the dance starts with a reverence, that is where you are holding hands. On here I have, from left to right, the dance step that you are supposed to be doing, the direction you're supposed to be going in, and any notes that you need to know about that particular moment, and also an explanation of the dance steps is in the center to help understand what's going on. And so the dance goes from the top to the bottom on the left-hand side and then follows through going on the right-hand side from top to bottom, and this is the whole dance. But before we get too far into just the dance steps, first let's learn a little bit of history about this dance and where it came from. This dance, Torneo Amoroso, was written by Cesare Negri. He was born in Milan in about 1535. He became a dancing master in 1554. His nickname was Il Trombone, which it's a not nice term. It pretty much means someone who likes to toot their own horn. On April 26, 1561, he danced at the wedding of Duke Gonzaga, and I put this in parentheses, Archduchess Eleanor of Austria. The reason why I put the parentheses there for Archduchess is that way you are not confused by which Eleanor of Austria was being married here, because there is another Eleanor of Austria that was alive right about this time period. I believe she was born probably 20 years earlier than this Eleanor. Don't quote me on that date. But the other Eleanor of Austria was first Queen of Portugal and then later Queen of, I believe, France. So this is a different Eleanor of Austria, but still part of the Habsburg dynasty. And starting in 1569, Negri choreographed masquerades and intermedios for royal courts. In 1587, he was employed by King Henry III of France. On November 30th, 1598, he arranged Margaret of Austria, who was Queen of Spain at the time. He arranged for Margaret's entry into Milan. In 1602 was when he published Le Gratie d'Amour, which was his treatise for dance. And then in 1604, he published another book, which was pretty much the exact same book that was published in 1602, just with a different name. And then he died about 1605. On the left-hand side is his portrait from the 1602 book, Le Gratie d'Amour. And on the right-hand side is a picture of the cover of Le Gratie d'Amour. In 1581, Fabrizio Caroso da Sormoneta, if I mispronounced that, I'm sorry, published Il Ballerino. There are many similarities between Caroso's book and Negri's book, but you will find during this time period, for example, I also do a lot of embroidery, and with the blackwork embroidery, I have found embroidery books where it looks like one author completely copied and pasted what another author did and then put their own name on it. So I'm not too surprised that there are many similarities between Caroso's book and Negri's book. In 1602, the treatise of this dance was published in Milan by Pacifico Pontio and Giovanni Battista Picaglia. Again, if I mispronounced that, I'm sorry. Please correct me and put that in the comments below. Thanks. The book has the steps for 43 dances, and this particular book was dedicated to Philip III, King of Spain and monarch of the New World, and it was published on August 1st, 1602. On the left-hand side is a picture that is inside the book. Most of the dances have pictures that go along with the book to give you kind of an idea of what the man and woman should be doing in that particular dance. For this dance, the man and the woman stand next to each other, holding hands, and that's how the dance starts. Il Torneo Amoroso is the 7th dance in Negri's book. The English translation of Il Torneo Amoroso is Love Tournament. And in the 16th century, combat dances were popular in England, Italy, and France. This dance is done in 9 parts. If you remember the Italian dance steps that I showed you at the beginning, there were 9 parts. In addition to providing dance steps with music, the book also provided etiquette lessons, such as the importance of making sure your gloves are not too tight so that you don't have to use your teeth to pull them off before offering your hand to a lady. Which to me makes perfect sense. If you offer your hand to a lady and she is holding this hand, but then you still have a glove that's way too tight on this hand, this doesn't look very good, biting your wrist to pull off the glove. So yes, remove your gloves, then offer your hand to the lady. This dance was danced by courtiers in front of their peers to demonstrate their grace and ability. It was performed at balls, banquets, and other social gatherings. The dance starts out with a refined beginning with a reverence. Per court etiquette rules for dancing, the man's hat should be removed during the first reverence, and then once removed, the hat should remain in the man's left hand. So the man is on the left-hand side and the lady is on the right-hand side, and during the reverence, the left foot will go forward, back, and then up on the balls of your feet, and then down with the feet together as you go up and then down. So with this, I find that it's kind of goes with the flow that as you go forward, the man should grab the hat, and then as the left foot gets drawn back, the hat should come down and then be placed on the left hip. So put the hat in the hand, make a fist, and put that on your left hip, and then put the feet together as you go up on the balls of your feet and then down. A lady may carry a handkerchief or a fan while dancing, and since she is holding hands with the Lord on her left, so her left hand is occupied, the right hand could be holding a fan or a handkerchief. The only thing to keep in mind, if you do have something, I recommend, say, having a fan that is attached to a cord that is attached to your either a belt or somehow attached to your skirt. That way, if you need to, you can drop the fan, because at certain parts of this dance, especially during the combat scene, you will be quickly slapping hands during the combat scene, and you do not have time to move the fan or your handkerchief from your left hand to your right hand and back while you are busy doing the combat. So that's why I recommend having a cord attached to your or a cord, well, maybe a cord attached to your handkerchief, but at least a cord attached to your fan. That way you can just drop it and it's attached to your skirt, but you can pick it up if you need to. The first puntate is unusual because it starts on the right foot, where most dance sequences start on the left foot. In the original Italian choreography, the lady is instructed to scorrendo, which means to scurry quickly, and you would do this on the balls of your feet. And this is near the end of the first part. This part I find to be really fun because if you think about it, in the late 16th, early 17th centuries, ladies had full skirts that went down to the ground. Well, if the lady is scurrying, if she does it if you make very small foot movements, but you do it quickly and you keep the torso and your head, everything, if you keep it stiff and not bouncing at all, it almost looks like the lady is floating in place, because in the dance you will start off near the back of the hall and then you move forward and then the lady scorrendos back to the original place. So as she's scurrying, like I said, if you keep your upper body stiff and then the feet are just quickly going, but if her feet are close together and scurrying as she goes along, it looks like she is floating because no one is supposed to see her feet. As you may recall, this is the English translation of the Italian dance steps, and Kendall also included this on the left side that explains what the different instructions were. If you look, for example, passi gravi is a capital P. And that actually coincides with the original Italian instructions. If you look at certain places, you can see like an SP or a lowercase p with a dot over it. There were different sections that had abbreviations, and this was Kendall's right here. This is Kendall's explanation of what the abbreviations meant. But I disagree with the beginning of the second part of Kendall's translation based on her own explanation of the step timings. In Negri's choreography instructions, he says to do P, which it's a capital P with a period on top, and this is his abbreviation for puntante grave. Per Kendall's translation, she states to do 2 passi graves and not 2 puntate grave. I believe this is incorrect, as it should be 2 puntate grave as per Negri's original instruction. I also disagree with Kendall's translation at the beginning of the fourth part. Again, Negri wrote to do 4 puntate, while Kendall wrote to do 4 passi grave. Throughout the dance, the dancer's body should be standing tall and straight, as the corsets they were wearing were stiff and impeded some shoulder movement. It was also considered poor etiquette if your arm went above your shoulder. So think long, heavy arms. If anything, think of having a long decorative sleeve that you want to keep down low, and you want to show off those sleeves. So don't want to show off your armpits. You want to show off the sleeves. So heavy arms. Keep the hands down. In the middle of this dance is what is considered to be the combat part of the dance. And it's an argument between the Lord and the lady, and Negri instructed to beat the right hand, then beat the reverse hand. So the Lord and the lady will be facing each other, and think of it as doing patty cake. So Lord and lady are facing each other, and they smack right hands, and then left hands, right hands, and then left hands. While they are doing this with their hands, the feet, you will step left, go up on your toes, and then down. So it's one fluid movement where you go up and then down to the left while you are smacking right hands. And then you'll step right as you're going up on your toes, feet together, and then down as you smack with the left hand. It's all one fluid movement, and it's done in a single beat. So right, left, right, left. After the argument, there are 2 sets of cinque passi steps, and these are 5 galliard steps. The galliard helps the man to display his bravado and virtuosity by the hopping steps that help to show off the calves. After the galliard is done, the couple should do 4 spezzati. And then the end of the dance is a fast-paced similitude to the beginning of the dance. And with that, the lady will do her scorrendo again, and it's just, like I said, a faster-paced version of the beginning. But not exactly the same. Remember at the beginning where I said pretty much this dance doesn't repeat itself, so there's a reflection to the beginning of the dance, but then the steps are still different. So again, here is my interpretation of the dance steps.
A reverenza grave is where you point left in the front, point back with the left, and then as the feet come together like this, you will go up on your toes and then down. So point forward, back, up on the balls of your feet, and then down. Again, front, back, up, down. A spetz is where you will step forward, back, front. So for example, a spetz to the left is left, right, left. And then if you were to do a spetz on the right, you would go right, left, right. A seguido is where you would go, for example, starting with the left foot, left, right, left. So if you notice, that is a spetz with So if you notice, that is 2 steps and then a spetz makes a seguido. Left, right, left. A puntante is just simply where you step forward, going up and then down. So step, and you will go on the ball of your foot, together, and then down. step right, up on the balls of your feet, and then down. A passi grave is just simply a step. So passi grave left, passi grave right. A continenza is pretty much a puntante going to the side. So you will go left, up on the ball of your foot, put the right foot together, and then down. And then you will do the same going right, up on the balls of your feet, and then down. To repeat that, left, together, down, left, right, together, down. Doppio is where you do 3 steps forward, and then on the 4th step you will go up and then down. So left, right, up, and then down. To repeat on the right foot, you would do right, right, together, and then down. A cinque passi is known as a galliard, and with that, you are going to point your foot out and then hop, hop, hop. So to do that quickly, it's and as you notice, I go hop, 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 and then you hold the last one for a moment before you begin again. And for an example of the scorrendo, which is where the lady would scurry, keep your feet up on the balls of your feet and just go and scoot. To see that again, just scoot.
And as you may have noticed, I've thrown in a couple of pictures of my husband and I doing this dance. And at the very end of the dance, I gave him a kiss on the cheek because I have been doing historical reenactment dancing for, 19 years now? And before learning this dance, my husband had only done a handful of historical reenactment dances, such as the official brawl, or Korobushka, or maybe Roughy Tufty. So to go from very simple dances where the lady could pretty much grab the Lord's hand and drag him through the dance, to go from that, and in 1 month's time, I was able to teach him this Italian dance. Now, as a side note, my husband does do modern dancing. He can do swing dancing and other dances. He just really didn't know any historical reenactment dances. So I was very happy and very appreciative of the fact that he was willing to be my dance partner for this, because I entered this dance as part of an arts and sciences competition. So for my husband, thank you so much for being my dance partner. And speaking of that dance, here is a video clip of that dance from this particular day. But before I show you that video clip, here's the works cited page that I mentioned before. If you have any questions about anything that you read or saw about, here are links for that. And here's the works cited page continued. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Post your comments below. Remember to select thumbs up if you like the video. And as always, please subscribe.